Hi, I'm Dan Herbert and I'm a course developer and tutor at Point Blank Online. I've been working for over 20 years as a musician, sound designer and programmer. I released tracks in the mid-90s on Ouch, Tasty and Storm, and have also worked in TV and film. In this series of tutorials, we're going to be checking out the Max for Live plugins which we've been developing here at Point Blank. These are available for you guys to download for free. We're going to take a look at the Funky Arpeggiator, a new Max for Live plugin developed at Point Blank. This device features the common parameters found on many arpeggiators, and in addition it allows you to set probabilistic rhythmic and pitch variation, as well as set the arpeggiator to an independent tempo. What this essentially means is, instead of it only arpeggiating in, say, sixteenths, it can create more complex patterns comprised of 4 different note values, and also we can set it to vary the pitch as well. This arpeggiator is great for jamming around, and due to its slightly unpredictable nature, I recommend recording the MIDI output onto a new track, and we'll cover this later on in the tutorial. If you're not sure how to install a Max for Live plugin in Live 9, then please check out the earlier kick drum designer video in this series. But for now, let's just unzip the downloaded file and drag it into Ableton. So I have here an instance of analog, and I've just set it up so the amp envelope has got a fast attack and a fast release. And we look at synthesizing different sounds in the sound design module at Point Blank. Now let's check this out. So the important thing to realize with the Funky Arpeggiator is it will only arpeggiate notes when Ableton is in play mode. I'm just going to reset some values here. I'm going to set this first one to 100%, pull these down to 0 just to simplify it. So this is basically a probability table, and I've set it up so it just plays 16th notes. So let's press play. I'm just going to tighten up the note length, pull the gate down, get a bit of a choppier sound, and so you can see what I'm doing. Let's just move this up so you can picture of the keyboard below. So arpeggiating away, 16th notes. Let's introduce a bit of swing. There we go. Now the power behind the Funky Arpeggiator lies within this section here. And here we can specify the rhythmic variation. So let's set the 8th notes here to 50%. So each of these 4 menus can be customized to whatever you want. Okay, I've just set that one to 8th notes, and let's press play and check it out. So now it's a little bit funkier. Been introduced some 8th note dotted. Again, that throws the timing out quite nicely, but obviously in sync. Now we can also offer more variation through adjusting the step value here. Let's press play. So now that increases the range by an octave, and this is related to the interval control here. Exactly the same as Ableton's arpeggiator. Well, we got 2 octaves. Okay, let's pull that back down. In addition to these controls, we've also got pitch random and octave random as well. And this will vary just the odd note here and there depending on the percentage. Let me just simplify it right down. Back to 16th notes. Play an octave. If it's on 0, it's going to play exactly these notes. Pitch random. %20 of the time, thereabouts, it's going to randomise the notes. Let's increase it. And if you go all the way, it's very much like the randomiser, or we can randomise the octaves. So again, the higher percent, the more likely it's going to transpose up or down the octave. Good. In terms of the other kind of parameters here, well, these menus here are fairly standard and we can set the direction. So I'm just going to reset the step there to 1. Pull down the octave random there. Let's press play. Just going to take off swing. Set up. Down. This value here is note length, and that also works with the gate parameter. And then there's a final option here from this menu here, a ridge ignore. Now this is fairly unique to this arpeggiator, and what we can do is we can specify a note which the arpeggiator ignores. Now when you choose this mode, it will inactivate the step control, okay, so you won't be able to go up and down the octave. And what happens here, it will ignore the note C1, but we can also specify a whole range, so any note between C1 and E1. It will ignore those notes, and when arpeggiating, put in a rest whenever those notes should be playing. So let's put that back to C1. Press play. Okay, and so if I hold down C1, you don't hear anything. Okay, if I play a note above, it now sounds like eighth notes. Let me play up the octave. So we start to get these different patterns. And obviously, if I want to, I expand this range out. And you can create some really interesting rhythms by making use of this function. Let's switch that back to the original. The last feature of the Funky Arpeggiator is this sync button here. So if I take it off sync, I can now type in a specific tempo and then modulate this in some way. Okay, so again, let's press play. Just on 16th notes. Okay, and now I can start to speed it up. And lock back in. So again, this has real potential. Let's record in some notes and I'll just show you how we can automate this parameter. Okay, that will do. And let's double click, go into the clip envelope. And here's BPM. Because it's the last parameter I played with, it's already listed here, and then I can just click on there. And what we could do is get it to speed up and then slow back down again. And you can create some quite twisted results where it kind of seems to go out of sync and then locks back into sync. Just holding down the command key just to get final resolution here. That will do. So, going out sync, and then slowly back in. Because the Funky Arpeggiator has a random aspect to it, then I recommend you actually bouncing the MIDI down to a spare track. So how we do this is set up a new MIDI track, so Command Shift and T. Where it says MIDI in, so you'll need your inputs and outputs displayed, MIDI from, come here, and then we choose the name of the track where our arpeggiator is on, which is 1 analog. Okay, and then I'm just going to enable that particular track. Ready to go. So if I want to, I can play this live. Let's just stop that clip there. Let's put sync back on, so it's absolutely spot on time. Take the random off, and that will do. And let's click on record here. So I'm playing the keyboard, and basically now it's recorded into this MIDI clip here. Double click and you can see the arpeggiated notes. Okay, so they're now committed. They won't be random again because we've actually recorded them down. Obviously you can now edit them and tweak them, perhaps change velocities, perhaps add in additional notes, or delete the ones you don't particularly like. Okay, so to obviously preview that on here, back the audio, we could just copy, so hold down Alt, drag analog, drop it onto this specific track, mute the original there. So we're now hearing that arpeggiate back.